we're going to need our French press, some coffee. The grinder is optional if you have pre-ground coffee, but I have my grinder here, a scale, and a nice stir stick. Today I'm going to be using the AeroPress stir stick. So first thing we're going to do here is go ahead and get our coffee in the grinder. Use our funnel here to make it easier. And we're going to be looking to do a 75 grams per liter ratio. So we're going to be doing about 37 grams of coffee for 500 grams of water. Now we're going to go ahead and get that all ground up, and we're going to want it on a rather coarse setting. Pre-ground coffee typically works fairly well in a French press because it's at a coarser grind, but I chose to make mine a little bit coarser than typical. And you can see here, mine is ground a little bit coarser than pre-ground coffee, but pre-ground coffee will still work. You might just have to play around with the ratio a little bit. So now that we have our coffee all ground, we're going to go ahead and get our French press prepped. Put it on the scale there and zero it out. And we're going to be adding in our coffee. Make sure that we get all 37 grams into the French press. Now we've got our kettle full of boiling water, brought a glass over, and we're going to go ahead and turn our scale back on, make sure it's zeroed out. Flatten out our bed of coffee so that the water hits it nice and evenly. And we're going to be pouring, like I said, about 37 grams of coffee to 500 grams of water. In this case, that's about 2 cups. And I'm using a lighter roast here, so I'm taking mine straight off the boil, but if you're using a medium or darker roast, you might want to let the kettle sit for a minute or two just to bring the temperature down. Once we get all our water in, we're going to take our stir stick and we're going to be stirring pretty aggressively for about 10 seconds. What we want to do here is just make sure that all the grounds are getting wet and that we're getting a good healthy stir in so that we have maximum extraction in this first part of the brew. Now we've waited our 4 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and stir again, but this time just the top crust part. You're going to notice that a little bit of crust forms on the coffee, and that's perfectly normal. We just want to get rid of that and make sure that all the little bits that have floated to the top are going to sink back down to the bottom. So what we're doing here is essentially knocking those grounds back to the bottom to ensure that less of it ends up in our final cup. Now we're going to go ahead and wait 1 more minute. Okay, so our 1 minute is up, and now we're just about ready. We're going to go ahead and take our plunger here, put it in top, and then we're going to press just to the top of the coffee here. You don't want to plunge it all the way right away. So we're going to get to the top. You're going to feel some resistance, and that's perfectly normal, and we just want to press it enough to submerge the plunger. Then we're going to stop. Make sure that you can pour it, grab your cup, and when you're pouring it, you want to try to be as fluid as possible. The more shaky you are with it, the more you're going to stir up those grounds, and that's going to lead to more silt and ending up in your cup. So just be gentle, be slow, and pour it very nicely. Now that we've poured it out, we can go ahead and press the plunger back down, and this time I pressed it down all the way because I was going to let it sit while I enjoyed this first cup before pouring another cup. If you're going to be pouring them consecutively, just push down to the top of the liquid because you don't want to stir up that bed of grounds.